Hello everyone and welcome to Much Ado About Dota, the show where our intro video is yellow, our logo up there is yellow, and all of my esteemed co-hosts are of Asian descent. With me is Monolith, the Dignitas Dota 2 manager, Aoi 2000, carry player for Team Dignitas, BuLba from Team Liquid, who just finished a somewhat disappointing match, and our guest this week is Luminous, now of Beyond the Summit. How's it going, Sam? You don't have a camera, but you doing all right?
Still kind of sad and lost, but yeah, so that's it.
All right.
Doing well.
Well, we'll come back to that one. How's it going, Charlie? Thanks for joining us again.
It's always good to be here.
And Kurt, Aoi 2000. Hello.
Hi.
We're just gonna go around the circle like this, because Blitz always did that. And Luminous, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All of the other BTS guys have been on the show. Now you're BTS, now you're on the show. And on that
I think
note,
that's part of the... I have to be on BTS to be on the show. That's what they told me, so...
we got pretty strict requirements over here.
Yeah.
I wanted to quickly go over a few changes to the show since everyone's going to ask anyways. Obviously, I'm here instead of Mott or Blitz. No drama here, guys. Really, we just knew that we need to make some drastic changes in the show. That's all there is to it. Everyone's still on great terms. That's about it. Nothing here is permanent. I'd consider this a transition phase. Monolith is a friend of all of ours who's been on the show before, so we're comfortable with him, so we invited him on. I'm here to fill in. We'll see how it goes. And we're also on Google Hangout for the first time ever instead of Skype. We were having problems with Skype audio last week, so we'll see how this goes. We can always change back. First thing I want to talk about is G League Finals, which I'm sure everyone watched. Sam, BuLba, you are the Dota 2 watching little fiend over there. How'd you like G League?
The first two games were kind of disappointing. I don't think LGD picked properly according to what IG had. And then the third game was LGD kind of had this lineup where if IG one mistake, they win. They'll get a big advantage just because of how fast Lycan and Enchantress and whatever pushes. I think they had Beastmaster pushes. So they won like a few fights, even though they were down, and they won. And then the fourth game was that epic whatever game, and it definitely lived up to the hype. At least the fourth game and the fourth game at least lived up to the hype, but the other games weren't as good. So I enjoyed watching it, and thank God for that last game, or else it would have been a disappointing set.
That game 4. Do you like those really long games? They keep your interest for 80 minutes?
No, because like those games are the worst. I know AUI enjoys those games, but I hate those games. It's like it comes down to one like stupid fight, and then if you mess up or they mess up, it's like that's that game felt. But you always knew in the back of your head like I would win the game. It's just like they were stalling it out.
So when they picked Caudle PL, I mean, how did you feel about that when you saw that? In what was that? 2 games? 3 games?
I mean, what else is there? It's like a strong strategy. It's never like a wrong. It's never like there's no inherent hero that's gonna counter that. Like you can pick some gyrocopter, you can pick some tiny or whatever to beat the PL, but try to attempt to beat the PL. But the way that the lane works, and then just like the annoying factor of you can split push with it, you can farm with it, you can defend with it, you can push with it. It's like this all strat, and it's just like annoying to play versus. And if you mess up one fight, if you just mess up, like they can make a lot more mistakes. Like the fourth game, IG made a lot of mistakes, but LG made like 2 mistakes or 3 mistakes like prominently in the early game, where I think Pine God got caught out bottom and then PL got a double kill. and then they had a really bad fight near the when they were pushing the racks bottom, and they weren't like actually going attacking the racks. They weren't doing anything. So LGD made like less mistakes that game than IG, but IG pulled out because YOF played really well, and then they called PL to win late game. So that's basically what happened.
Actually, I think that game, it's less boring than all the other 8-minute games, considering that there was that one fight in the middle where, well, not middle, but like towards the end where, for whatever reason, IG didn't have buyback two of their heroes. So LGN was able to like go all the way to the other side, and they took the mid racks, and they took the melee racks up top. And to be honest, I think, well, Fluffs was there with us when we were casting. Blitz was there as well, so afterwards we were talking about that decision, and to be honest, we thought they could have won the game right there because they had Syllabir, who's mass stacked, and if they took, actually they could have just straight for throne because the base tower on bot lane was also exposed. I think it was gone by then, right? Because they were camping that lane for like an hour. So if they just broke out and just thrown there, I think they could have won because they were, or at least came really close to it. So I personally think that LGN, they play like, maybe because there's so much money on the line or whatever, they were like more passive than they should have been. But that's just, you know, what I see of it.
Well, one thing Brad and Feather said when they talk about their China games, it's that no matter how much of a lead you have, it's versus the Chinese teams, it's impossible to break the base. Like if they have a certain set of heroes, and you saw that in the game. And I do agree that 80 that if they do make just choice of going to the rack, I still think there might have been a chance where the remaining heroes in IG could have distracted them long enough, because they did have, I think, I don't know if Batrider was up. I think Batrider was up, but I guess when they're in that position, they don't know like what the status is right now of the other remaining heroes. So they're like, the more safe bet is just going for the racks, and that's what Brax told me, that there was this risk of if they just went for one racks and then they went for the throne, or I mean if they just straight rushed for the throne, it was like maybe a chance that they don't get it, and if they don't get throne, it's like a wasted attempt, and IG was going to win anyway. Then it was like their only chance of actually doing that, because that was the one mistake IG made in the game that was late game that like was consequential. At that stage, like based on the players, they got like 2 racks and they almost got bottom, but it didn't really matter at that stage. So in hindsight, I can say that, but at that stage, I think it was really hard for the players to make that decision. That's basically what I have to say about that.
Aoi, were you impressed with LGD's play overall?
I think the game you were talking about, I didn't like that game a lot because I think the Jug and Silver, they both didn't buy Battlefield or anything to deal with the PL, right?
Yeah, they didn't.
Like I don't know, like people are calling PL Kodo overpowered, but they literally did like the worst thing against it. They like picked sort of into it, and then they didn't adjust their items to try to play against it.
And one thing, Joe, I don't think he went the right item choice. Two hearts.
Yeah,
So
I thought the PL's items were awful too. And
so I told Brax this, but then he's like, the reason we didn't buy Battlefield earlier is we just wanted to end it there, and then we didn't want to wait around and farm more and more versatile. So that was basically his logic. I still think that late game, if the Syllabir buys the Battlefield on the bear, you can deal with it a lot easier, and so does the.
I actually think PL's not as strong late game as most people think he is. Like in a straight up fight versus a carry, he's strong because he never has to engage the carry. But items are the right heroes, and you can force an engagement, then he actually doesn't do that much. Like, remember when you guys played Moz and you had a gyrocopter and stuff, and Black was on the PL? Like, he did nothing once he had to fight you guys. And yes,
that was a different case. So
they completely misplayed that. But straight fight, you can't do that. And if you have a hero like Tanya or Gyro who can push out the lane against PL effective, then you can force the straight fights, especially when you're upper racks.
But the problem is that every time the base would push, the PL would just send in illusions to kill the racks.
Yeah, and they had nothing to clear the illusions, so he could do that, right?
Well, no,
But thing is, they had things to clear the illusions.
Like
every
Hex.
time you send, yeah, but they had Hex. They had
Maelstrom on the.
Okay, Maelstrom does nothing to PL. Hex does nothing to PL.
There's also two MKBs on Battle Juggernaut.
I mean, you need to be able to cleave the illusions, though. Like that's or like some really big AOE. Like Hex is one illusion; it's not going to do that much. And MKB, sure, but if he went just like hard, like the PL didn't do that much damage if he went Hearts, right? Like relatively, he's probably still does. a lot.
Well, he didn't even go MKB, so he wasn't doing damage to
Heroes at all.
Yeah,
Right?
the heroes
Yeah.
at all. Like he was doing damage to the Juggernaut.
Like I just think that if like you get one, even two battle phases, it's not that bad against a PL. Especially if you can like, if you have that much farm in the late game. Like, cause as far as I know, like LGD had the entire map to farm for a pretty long time, but they tried to just push it in and end it because they were really afraid of fighting a PL late game. I think with their heroes, if they had just taken it later, then they could have won.
I think another problem was like, even in the team fights, the Scylla bear, like the actual bear, was like stuck between all the illusions. And if there was a way just to like clear the illusions, it would have been easier. There was that bottom fight,
Yeah, for sure.
but this is like all hypothetical
And
stuff.
at
like,
that point, putting the items on the hero is going to do more than putting on the bear as well. So
Yeah.
I think they sort of misplayed quite a bit there.
But overall, like, I think after that game, I think he would have won the entire set. So, I mean,
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think they should have won that one. And it's sort of hard to say that, right? Like, there's a game where you just don't know, honestly. Like, IG could have choked after they lost a long game. I mean, that's so unlikely because it's IG, but stuff happens.
yeah.
It definitely would have made a more exciting storyline than what happened here. But you know, it's okay.
How do you guys think that the 2 months break affected things, or the 2 weeks break?
I think it affected LGD more, because IG, I feel, they don't have to rely on strategies to win. Obviously they have to rely on strategies, but I'm saying like they don't have to rely on a cliche strategy or one idea. Like they can pick any kind of set of heroes for their players, and I think in most situations they fine as long as they don't go to some extreme. But LGD, on the other hand, like Brad told me, they had the set way of playing before the break, and then for 2 months they didn't play at all, and then stuff changed, like things happened, and as soon as they came back, it was like they don't have the element of surprise that they had. And then he said that when they came back, LGD China wasn't scrimming, DK wasn't scrimming, so the only team they could effectively scrim was Orange or Rising Stars. It's a team that's with it's like relatively unknown players, so they couldn't really practice a new style. They couldn't, and he said one thing, they were picking like, they weren't picking the heroes that they used to pick before. Like they weren't picking that style, and they made a lot of like lane failures, like Weaver, and then Weaver in that situation where Syllabear, where if Syllabear gets pulled sentries, he's gonna lose no matter what, and like little things like this. And they picked a Sven tri-lane versus Nake's tri-lane, which is awful because a Sven in the tri-lane is not gonna farm because Nake's has imbalanced base stage. So little things like this, and then they picked like a Pugna versus Syllabear and Nake's.
Yeah.
So I think overall their strategy was, I didn't feel they had a strategy besides the third game. And then the fourth game, it was kind of their normal picks. They had like a good jug plan versus the Kodal, but in the end they couldn't really come out in the end.
Do you think they overthought things?
I don't know, it's hard for me to say. So whether they overthought things, because I felt the first two games have an idea of what to do. Like they sent the Nakes. The first game was just like awful. I don't know what. I think their plan was to try and smoke gang mid a lot, but Ferrari, if you looked how he played, like every wave he was literally playing out at his hill. And then in this Quap versus Night Stalker matchup, Quap will always play like or aggressive and keep striking. But the way he played that matchup is he wasn't even going up the Shadow Strike. He was literally just sitting in the back and CSing because he knew that they were gonna smoke gank in mid. And I don't agree with God's skill build on Night Stalker. He doesn't get Crippling Fear at all. Like he maxes the first spell and the third spell. I don't understand that build.
He just skipped it entirely, right?
He always
Yeah,
does
he
that,
skipped
though.
it entirely.
Yeah.
He always
Was
does.
that
Yeah, but I
the
don't-
game with the Chanty CM?
Yeah, the Chanty.
They
CM.
didn't even need Fear to kill the Quad 2
But the
with
thing
the
is,
Chanty CM smoke. Like he should have gotten it, but I don't understand. Like if you're picking a Crystal Maiden, you have to get that first two smoke ganks off, or the hero's like worthless.
but the problem is Ferrari was playing so passive. Like the thing about LGD and style is that it was obvious that they couldn't really gank top effectively. Clockwork is, I mean, even if they ganked bottom, whatever, Clockwork was playing as hell. He was just cogging the waves and getting experience. So the only like relatively only lane to actually gank was mid. So Ferrari knew that, and they were just playing really passive. And he had the same CS as a Night Stalker, which you usually don't see, but it was fine.
Do you think that LGD is almost getting too known for their smoke ganks, and that it's, you know, people are preparing for it and are waiting for it every time?
That's like a positive and a negative. As in, you can play careful. It's kind of like how teams play versus with CK. There's a strategy like thing like, you know, you can predict where the with CK is gonna gank, but it's also the fact that your team has to sit behind you if you go farm a lane. So you're playing this kind of bunched up Dota where you can't really split push lanes. You can't play because you're just scared of them going on you, and if scared, you have maybe 2 or 3 rows behind you, so you get out farmed. So it's that kind of thing where the teams were just playing. You can just, if you're passive, they can exploit that. But I felt they didn't play. I felt that LGD didn't exploit that because all the games I felt IG was basically just counter ganking LGD into aggression. Like I felt IG knew every step. IG wasn't playing aggressive in many of the games. They were just basically sitting behind and counter ganking with some Impale hero on Tron, like Lion sinking Nyx, and they were just letting letting just like walk into their own trap. So that's what I felt like the entire series was.
Anyone else have anything to add to that about the series or game 4 at all?
I think Sam covered that pretty thoroughly.
Yeah. All right. Well, the last thing I wanted to talk about for G League was those player intros, which were, I thought, hilarious. What you guys think? Do you want to see more of that, or, I mean, obviously you could do it a little more tame, I guess.
I don't know. It was really cringeworthy, like watching it. I just, you know, your hands and feet curl up because it's just so awful.
Who's did you like the best, or whose was the worst?
When Theban gets back and I see him like in Toronto or wherever, I'm gonna do that thing to him when I see him. You know, I'm gonna put up the fists, and then, you know, I'm gonna brush my shoulder off, and then that'll be the first thing I do when I see him.
But I mean, at the same time, at least you can put a face to the player name, right? Like I stream, if I ever have a webcam on, the first thing, like, at least like 15 times a child, like, shit, AUI's Asian. And that's because in the West, it's like no faces with any names unless you're pretty like involved in a competitive scene and watching and stuff.
I mean, they could have done it like TI2. You had faces and names. They didn't have.
Yeah, they didn't have the punching.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I read Brett's interview. He's like, that's the worst part that he had to do with the whole posing and all that stuff. So, you know.
I mean, Sam, I asked Kurt this earlier, but if Bumblebee or someone else made you do that, would you do it? Would you do it, Sam?
If they forced me, I mean, look at their situation in China, and these guys that are in charge of this league are asking them to do it, and then it's like part of the setup. I mean, they have to do it. So it's not just for your own selfish. I mean, it's for the production, and you want it to become good. So, but if you're asking straight up, like, if Bumblebee, no, I would not do it if Bumblebee made me do it. Screw that. Would Kurt do it if you made him do it?
He said only if I did it with him.
Oh, okay.
And no, I'd rather stab myself before I did that willingly.
What if you got to choose though?
First.
Like choose the pose I did?
Yeah,
I
something really cool. Like, I mean, I don't have.
There's nothing really cool. That's because there are no examples. There are no examples of how you can make that cool. Sorry, I got nothing on that.
I was a big fan of the no, the Matumbo.
Yeah.
But
Haven't you guys seen Firebat Hero from StarCraft Brood War days? Because that I think it's a cool intro if anybody knows talking about.
Yeah, but they do it like
after they win.
Yeah, after they win.
No, he did it before.
Unless you want to be like
anything.
MC before the game, you just suicide.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I mean they have like the StarCraft guys. I don't know. It's different. They have different auras when they do it. I don't know. Like the G League intros, they were just them staring stoically at the screen and then doing these things, and it just looked ridiculous. Like when they do it, when the StarCraft guys do it, I mean, it's not they're not so serious to where, I mean, the G League intros look like they were trying really hard to be serious, but the
They're trying too
StarCraft
hard.
one, yeah, the StarCraft ones, I mean, it's playful, so it's not like.
Right, but to go back to your point of there is no good polls, so we're going to there is some acceptable polls.
Okay, there's an acceptable way to do it, but
Right.
in the frame that there was, no, I would never. That would be so hard to ask my players to do that. I think way too would bite me if I asked them to do that.
All right, let's move on here. The one of the big pieces of news this week was BTS announced that Luminous is joining them at their studio, and you already live in the LA area, correct?
Yeah, I live 20 minutes away from them.
And you used to work with LD on Dota commentaries. No offense, but I'm not sure what you've been up to lately since you're casting at TI2. What have you been doing?
Really mostly busy with school, but a lot of people, because after I joined BTS, a whole bunch of people asked me like what's happening with Dota commentaries or all these other projects I'm involved in. Basically, whoever sends me T-shirts is where I'm gonna be casting with, because I have a DC T-shirt. I'm not sure if you can see, and BTS right now hasn't shit yet. So, so far my Legion's still with DC, but honestly, like they have a whole bunch of casters at BTS. Because I think Winter is a caster. They're currently casting Maruna, I think that's her name, and they always get like Maruna and Flex and all that stuff. So, like even though we have quote unquote like 5-6 different casters, only like 2 or 3 of us are available at the same times. I don't think so far is an issue, and also I think we might have more tournaments coming up in the future. So I don't think we'll ever be like, oh, well, Gods is casting, I don't get to cast, let me go stab Gods in the back. I don't think we're going to see something like that.
Yeah. You think there is
and also for
3 people to cast?
I've been pushing them to do more like, well, Gods and LD right now they're really on top of like doing all the background stuff like Twitter and talking to players, talking to organizations. I think that's really tough on them. So hopefully whatever I could do to help out in terms of all the background stuff, because caster-wise, I think we have enough. I just feel like we don't have enough personnel, if that makes sense.
And the background stuff takes a lot of time.
They do. I mean, I'm sure you know.
As well as
and it's underappreciated too. So
people don't realize how long you really spend just talking to people on Skype and getting prepared for things. So how did you end up joining them? Did LD just talk to you and was like, hey, Dota commentaries was awesome when we did TI2 together also, or what happened there?
Yeah, LD and I like go pretty much way back. You know, when he came to Dota scene, he and I worked together. So we had to talk about my schedule, because really what's preventing me from going with BTS right in the beginning was my school. Really busy with that stuff. So my schedule pretty much cleared up for the next 3-4 months. So like, since you got nothing to do with your school stuff, why don't you come work with us? So that's kind of happened. But it's not like now that I'm working with BTS, I don't work with anybody else. I'm still like with Dota commentaries. I'm talking with a couple of other organizers who are casting some tournaments in the future. That's not with BTS. So it's not like I'm with BTS and no one else. I'm kind of like a free agent, if that makes any sense.
To whoever sends you a t-shirt.
To whoever sends me t-shirts, yes.
All right.
That's the important part.
Does anyone have any questions for Luminous?
So are you flying out to LA or?
No, I'm at LA. I'm 20 away
Okay.
from where they live, yeah.
I'm jealous.
You should come too. We'll like give you a room to live in.
Maybe when I graduate, I'll move back out there. I really miss it. It's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right. A piece of news that just came up last night, I believe, or earlier today, is the RaidCall EMS. They made a little announcement. Monolith, do you want to go over that?
Yeah. So the RaidCall EMS announced the 4 North American teams that have qualified for the group stages, and that's Team Liquid, no surprise. So congrats, and Fnatic NA, EOSIM +4, and Infinity Gaming. So we didn't sign up for it, so we didn't play in it at all. It just didn't work out with our schedule. We never signed up to begin with. But EG did, and Milk made a post on Reddit. If someone wants to link that in chat, or that he said that they signed up early and they were the first North American team to really play a bunch of matches. Like they were, and they had the win-loss record to qualify, but near the end they stopped playing a bit because they thought they were already in. They thought they had already qualified, but they still needed I think it was 2 or 3 more games to qualify, and they got sent a message, but I guess it was never really looked at, and so as a result they didn't qualify in the end because they lost points due to inactivity. And I mean, it's really unfortunate because EMS, you want to have the big 3 North American teams in if you make room for them, like a path for them to get into your online LAN tournament. Like you want the big 3, Ding, us, EG, and Liquid, and our schedule just didn't work out with the group stages. That wasn't going to happen anyways. But on top of that, now you have EG not qualifying, so you only basically have Liquid and a bunch of I guess amateur level teams. And that's pretty unfortunate to have. I mean, a lot of that's on EG. They didn't check their messages. They didn't read up on the rules correctly. But at the same time, like when the EMS guys told me like this is the format that's gonna happen for the North American teams to go through. And for you guys that don't know, the North American teams, they qualify through the A series, which is basically like a ladder where you sign your team up and you just schedule matches against whoever, whenever you want, as many matches as you want, until the end of the ladder season. And then whoever has the best record at the end of that season, they win and they go on. And I'll just flat out say it, like ladder systems are fucking awful for qualifying events. They are absolutely terrible. I've never seen a good ladder system ever really work.
We've seen MLG game battles try it before and it did not work at all.
It just doesn't work. Like there are hardly any advantages to ladder play over bracket play. So as a result, like all these teams, these 5-on-5 teams, have to schedule their stuff themselves. Don't have managers to do it for them. And so they have to keep up with this. And I mean, if all the rest of the North American teams really wanted to, they could have really screwed over like Liquid or EG just by simply refusing to play them. So I mean, the system is highly abusable. It's just a giant mess.
So
I mean,
there's no measures that prevent simply dodging teams.
No, there really isn't. I mean, the one ladder system that we've ever played in that was semi-decent was actually the Alienware North American Battlegrounds tournament. And that was only, I mean, the redeeming factor of that is that automatically scheduled game for you, like every week. So you had to play one, and they just scheduled it for you. But, I mean, this thing where they just, let you go off on your own and do it, I mean, it's pretty shitty. I mean, in the end, it's also kind of, I don't think it's great for anyone involved. I mean, it's kind of like you have these big name teams that could possibly play in it, like Liquid and EG, and then they're playing in this ladder, and they're essentially playing meaningless games. Like they have to play a handful of games to qualify. Everyone knows that they're already good enough to qualify, and so it's a little bit demeaning, isn't it? So they have to play all these games against teams that they're obviously going to beat, and then these teams have to play against them, and they're obviously going to get stomped, and it's not enjoyable for anybody. So I mean, the end result is that you want G and Liquid to advance through. So why not just fight them? I mean, nobody would care, and everyone would think that it was deserved. So.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously there's some issues going on over there. I mean, I think we pretty much covered that topic. You know, ladder's not seen too much anymore, so we'll see if they can still pull it out, but it's doubtful. A little other piece of drama that seems to come up all the time is server drama.
Lord.
We've had quite a bit of U.S. versus Europe drama. You know, whether to play one game on Europe, 2 on U.S. East for best of 3, or do 2 on Europe, or do a coin toss for game 3. This is kind of a sticky topic to talk about on here, since we do have 5 North American people on here. So if anyone has some thoughts about it, I'm gonna let you speak your mind, and then I might play a little devil's advocate for the Europeans.
I'll pretend to be European too.
Oh, all right.
That'll be fun.
Okay. All right. Sam, you just played against Fnatic. What happened with the servers there?
We talked to Fnatic, and then what we agreed on is the games that the team that gets server advantage would get first pick and then choice of side. So the first game it was Europe, and then wanted Radiant, and then Radiant was first pick. And then the second game it was US East, and then we got Dire, and they got Radiant and they got first pick. So that's basically how we sorted that out.
To me, the thing that stands out from what you just said is that you and Fnatic talked about it before the game. If I'm running a tournament, I would make those rules before the tournament starts, and avoid all questions. You know, these are the rules. If you want to play in the tournament, you accept the rules and you go with it. Do you guys find yourselves talking all the time like this?
No, this was the first time we've done that. The rules really were just Western European team versus what is it? A US West or whatever team that has like at least 2 members in the US on the US West server. It would be
US East.
It would be US East, Europe, US East for the defense.
Do they really say 2 US West players?
I don't think they really say that.
I think they would say a US West team.
They say they don't really have like any clear defined rules about that.
Yeah, it's just US team versus European West is US East.
Okay, so that's I didn't know exactly, but
it says admin discretion too, which is what will probably happen at any later stage, right?
And so obviously all the drama happened, and then Hani, or I think I don't know the manager, but they spoke to our manager, and then we sorted it out with I think Image or whatever, and then he agreed on the servers. So I think
the standard argument, and the one that your manager BuLba has used plenty of times, is that if you add up all the pings on the different servers, the ping difference is, for you guys, suggests that you should be playing 2 matches on US East, because your pings to Europe are significantly worse than their pings are to US East.
Yeah, there's some like you just if the difference or whatever, the ping difference you find, and the ping difference in the majority of the games, except the games versus the CIS teams, they will have better ping on their server compared to us on theirs. TC and Fluff will both get around 260 up, and then me and Korak and Mike will get around 200. And then if we play a team like NTH on US East, NTH will have, everyone will have at least 200. Like no one will have more than 200 ping. And S4 will have like around 150 or something because his net's really good. I don't know. I think Loda's net's pretty bad, so he got around 180 or 190. So they will be in the 150 to 200 range, most of the European West teams, and if they will be in the around 200 to 270 or whatever, because TC and Fluff are on the West Coast.
Okay, so Kurt, our resident European for the day, why should we be playing 2 on Europe instead of 2 on US East?
I think most of the Europeans are actually arguing for 1 win, right? No one argues for 2 US West,
No,
EU West.
a lot of them are arguing after the Talk Dota thing with Puppy. He's like, if it's a European tournament, it should be all US. It should be all Europe and EU.
Well,
so
I'm trying to be European now, but I don't want to sound really stupid and argue for that because that's really dumb.
yeah, but it's
You're doing a
it's
pretty
like
bad job.
there was some logic.
I want to be European, but I don't want to be really stupid, right? So how do I do this?
No. I'll tell you the logic. It was like that EG when they played G League qualifiers or whatever, they were forced to play on Singapore server because it was a G League tournament. Agreed to it before the game, so they were saying on Talk Dota that when a team joins a tournament that's specific to a certain continent, they agree on playing every game on that server.
Which one's
G League's
it's an exception, and there's one special team in there, right? I know you're not making that argument, so it's really hard to talk about this with you. But
Yeah.
I think all the TPL, D2L, the defense are all North American / European tournaments, right? Like in the descriptions, they'll say the top teams in Europe and North America, and then sure, the hosting company is in Europe. They might be based in Germany or something.
So the logic is actually
Right.
it's posted on Europe times, so it's a European tournament.
So
That's
man,
what
I'm trying to be
that's what
European
they-
here, but I want to argue so they get a time advantage and.
No, but that's what the AL Samo guy or whatever.
Yeah.
He legit flamed the hell out of us in the chat, and then he made some.
I think
tweets or
Samo was
whatever.
arguing for 1 US East, 1 EU West, and 1 flip though.
He wanted
to
a flip. Yeah.
Because
Yeah, and then
Hold up.
Let me be European for a second.
All right, go for
I
it.
can't be European for a second.
Do it.
Okay. The reason that you would want 1 and flip is because if you give 2 US East and 1 EU West, over time, over 100 tournament games, the US East advantage is going to be insurmountably large compared to the EU West, compared to the flip one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So another way to say that is, sure, maybe the advantage is slightly less if you're giving 2 US East, but it's still an advantage. So why should the American team get the advantage every time? Why not do a coin flip where it's random who gets the advantage, even if the European advantage might be a little bigger?
I think how significant it really is the advantage. How much is?
That's what I want to
50
know
Well,
because for
As a European,
I mean,
as a European, when I get more 80 ping, the server's terrible. So, okay, no. Well, as a US West player, if I'm playing on Europe, it's awful. I cannot lane a 1v1. I will lose the lane. Most of the time, unless they're really bad. It's pretty big.
All right. Well, this,
And then you and wait.
go ahead.
And if it's a support player playing on Europe or whatever, and he's from US West, I think way too sexy in that situation. It's really hard to play heroes like
Chan, Visage.
Rubik, Bane. Bane, if you play Bane on lag, it feels like the hero is. It's
okay, so TLDR is shit. It's shit either way. But I mean, I think it's obviously not going to be fair. We're never going to have a perfect situation.
This problem
so
isn't going to go away anytime soon, ever. So people need to figure out a way to deal with it and
okay, so I'm
whatever
not
is
saying
fairest.
Well,
So-
I mean, a lot of people are kind of saying it towards us, because Korak has good ping to the USC server, because
He has
he
good
is.
ping.
he really does.
The problem is the situation. The thing is, I don't agree with that. I think he has his ping. I mean, obviously he has good ping, but I don't feel the difference between a person having 50 ping and a person having 110 ping, 100 ping. I don't think that's a big
Well,
difference.
I
Because
mean,
Well,
neither do I, but I think most
you
people
can't
have the
really make that
problem.
argument because I know your manager was make pure numbers argument, right?
It has to be a pure numbers argument. What
But
other argument
then
can
you
it be?
have to get ping at 30. You can't say it doesn't really matter 50 to 110. If you're a pure numbers argument, it can't
Yeah, but
just
even
always
with that,
go your
even
way.
with the ping at that level, the ping difference is still higher on.
I don't know.
Why
Like,
does it have to be a pure numbers argument? Why can't you just say one game US East, one Europe, and you flip for the last one, so it's random who gets the advantage? Why does it have to be about numbers? It's simple. It's advantage or disadvantage. So why not just do a coin flip for it?
Okay.
Well, I thought the number argument was trying to say that the advantage is larger on one side than the other, right?
So advantage is significantly bigger.
It is, but someone's going to have an advantage. So,
but the advantage they get is way more than the advantage we will if we
All right.
play.
all right. So
like,
we've successfully reached this circle that
Yeah.
every
well, that's
discussion
basically. I mean, that's like
is
that's
about.
basically the argument.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well. Okay. So I don't think we're to a conclusion for this, but okay. So here's the thing. But here's I don't know. This is something to think about. For the TPL, because that's where a lot of the arguments came from. Before Dignitas accepted the TPL invite for this season, I talked to the admin, Ange, and I said, look, we're primarily US West. We only have one player that's US East, and that's Fogged. That's it. And he's like the shittiest internet ever. So I talked to him before the tournament started, before we accepted the invite, and I told him, okay, so we're already like doing a server switch with CIS teams because that's most fair. But I said, look, but if we're playing a US or an US team, we'd like the host to be US East, and so and I said, you know, our participation is pretty conditional on this, and he said, okay. He said, I can make sure that when you play an EU West team, that the servers are going to be US East every time. And whether or not that decision was correct or not, I mean, I think a lot of teams and a lot of tournaments might have to go down this road where you just lay everything out in the very beginning, and you tell this is how it's going to be, you accept or not, and then you're done.
And we did the same. Our manager did the exact same for that league as the TPL. I think, but what we were questioning is halfway through the tournament, they suddenly changed the rules that we agreed to when we decided to join, and I think the last time when when they were in Premier League, the same situation happened. I think EG quit Premier League because they were forced to play on Europe server. I don't remember why EG actually quit Premier League.
I was there when that happened. That was, I think, TPL 1 or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were forced to play on Asian server because TPL had Asian teams there too, Husky and Zenith Orange. But
really?
yeah, this is like way in the beginning. But the thing about I was casting there, so.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the thing is, EG signed up knowing that they were going to play on Asian server, and halfway through they were like, "No, fuck that," so they left.
Okay, that's different case. I thought it was like I forgot the difference between now and then. When Dota 1, Dota 2, Dota 2 was starting. It was every tournament that we hosted. The American team was always forced to play on the Europe server. Like, I played on its Gosu, and we always were forced to play on Europe. I think EG at that time they're also made to play on. Then the team started bringing up the rules and stuff, and then recently it's kind of been prominent where this problem. I mean, I think it started when the tournaments started having rules, not just giving the European teams an advantage every time. So I think it was last summer, so I think it was like the first tournament to have this was the Defense 2, where they allowed I remember last year, Complexity, majority of their games in TPL, they were actually forced to play on US West. And if you talk to Chappie, he can actually vouch for this. So they played the tournament, and they even got like maybe top 4 or something, whatever, and then on majority games playing on Europe. So, I mean, this problem is always going to happen. So I don't foresee a solution at all.
Need more lands.
Yeah, well, lands are the solution.
BTS, looking at you. Need more lands.
I'm not even in charge. They just say you show up and cast games. I was like, okay. I don't even know what's going on. And
I don't know how it works over there, but you're the BTS representative we have now, so we're putting all this weight on you.
I want more American timing tournaments. Can we
that's what we want too.
Why do you?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
I mean, I know that the Google Hangout video quality hasn't been great so far. None of these programs are perfect. If anyone has suggestions, any viewers, you can definitely tweet them to us or something. But let's move on to the last topic. And I know a couple people here might need to leave, so if anyone does need to leave, you can go ahead and leave any time. But the last topic we wanted to discuss is IXDL. There was IX Mike's in-house league. There is a Reddit thread about it. This has been on NEODota for a while though. We talked a little bit about it last week, and Aoi, you are not a big fan of in-house leagues?
Well, if they work for you and you can learn from them, then you can play them. I just, when people say that if you're not playing in an in-house league and you're not going to improve, I think that's the most ridiculous thing.
Okay, so I have a pretty different opinion from Kurt, actually. I mean, I think that statement, what you just said, is patently true. I mean, you can improve in lots of different ways, but I think, like, once you get to a certain stage, playing in matchmaking isn't going to help you as much. Maybe you'll improve, but it'll be, like, at a snail's pace. I mean,
do you think an in-house league is really that much better? Like, I know you're going to say scrims and with the team, and that's the best.
Okay, obviously, I mean, the ideal situation is you get, 4 other people, and you scrim regularly, you wake up at God knows what hours, and you play against, like, whatever Europeans are up at the pro scrim group or the pro scrim group, and then you do that. But who the fuck can do that, like, all the time? I mean, if they could, there'd be, like, 10 North American teams. But I mean, so, like, as it is right now, like if you look at an in-house league, it's for players that have reached a certain level to improve more. I mean, and you're only going to really improve more by playing the best, like, better players. And those better players happen to play in in-house leagues. Like, if you play, like, shitty players in one-on-one matchups, like, well, that doesn't really help you. It's like our last scrims when, we played a certain team, and, Universe went solo offlane against somebody, and he wasn't very happy because that person wasn't very good. So, I mean, it's sort of like that. It doesn't help you improve. And so, like, when you get to that environment, to an IXDL environment, it's like, it's not perfect. Nobody's that. It's probably the closest thing you're going to get for, like, a solo player looking to improve your mechanical skills.
How about the matchmaking rating system? You're playing players on your system, because if you're playing an IXDL and that's your way of improving, I'm sorry, you're going to find a lot better than you in matchmaking too.
Really? I don't know.
The majority of players are better at IXDL.
I'm pretty sure they are. I mean, like, matchmaking is like stack versus stack. And it's not it's not as organized as I don't think it's as organized as, like, an IXDL environment. Where I mean, how many games have you played where I've watched stream and then you match and then complain about the support in your lane that isn't pulling or taking your solo?
You cannot be telling me that anyone in IXDL can play support for the other already professional players.
I don't know.
Like, I've seen that league on Merlini stream. They're so bad too.
Are you serious, dude?
I think IXDL players are awful, just like matchmaking.
I'm being honest right now. Monolith, I will assemble a team of my 4 IXDlers, top IXDlers, and you assemble a team of 4 of the best matchmakers in NA. Let's duke it out, bro.
We need to show.
That'll be like Team Liquid versus Dignitas.
No, I'm not.
Because all of Dignitas plays matchmaking.
No. The rules are you can't choose anyone in a pro team, except Fnatic NA, because whatever. But you choose one class and you can't choose like, okay?
You already know it's not fair.
No, how is this not fair?
Because I'm talking about for people improving, and you're talking about the top players who play in IXDL because they like the environment and they don't need to improve from it.
All right, can I say something about this? Because I think I fit the whole improving kind of thing, right? So I tried to join IXDL. I asked BuLba to vouch me, and he just went away after I sent the message.
Wait.
No. Okay, but you gotta take Sam as a grain of salt. That's how he works.
No, that's fine. So Envy just vouched me, and I'm not sure if I'm good enough to play in that league, but I'm definitely learning a lot every single game.
Yeah.
So for somebody that's not, BuLba or AUI, you're definitely learning. And sure, I'm not the best support player ever, but I'm learning how to get closer to that. So I think it's definitely a valid argument to say that you're.
So
I learned.
I will say one thing though.
Matchmaking, I just random and go whatever, even in my own bracket.
But that's because that's what you do. Like that's up to you to improve. Like people are saying that you can't improve at all in matchmaking, and that's what really.
I will say one thing.
There's no incentive for me to pick a support in matchmaking and support.
What's your incentive in IXDL?
Because Merlini's shouting at me to play support, and I want to play support. So Merlini don't yell at me.
There is no way that matchmaking is as good as improving as IXDL. Like just if you play a few IXDLs, not necessarily someone your skill.
Would I have improved faster if I just played an in-house league then? Because I never played in-house leagues. I played it once and I got flamed. I wasn't allowed to play.
That's why you're so fucking off,
Kurt. All right.
Dude, who did you get flamed by?
IX Mike.
Obviously, he was fucking kidding.
Was he? Because I wasn't allowed to play carry.
Yeah. No,
okay,
right.
anyways,
I wasn't allowed to play carry.
Okay, fine. You might be an anomaly. Almost all the top North American players have all come from that sort of in-house environment.
Yeah, but I'll say one
players who just played matchmaking. That's what they do in the hall.
Here's the part you're missing, though. It's not only about improving your individual skill, it's about learning how to play the game at a competitive level. Because in matchmaking, you can run around doing whatever the hell you want, and if you're better than someone, you're just going to beast on them most of the time. But IXDL, you have to play the tri-lanes, you have to... you will learn the picking trends within a couple games in IXDL, because you're sitting there for the drafts, you're a part of them, you're playing the game. It's... Kurt, I mean, you're just wrong. There's no better way to improve than an in-house league.
I will say one thing.
Okay.
I did let me do a little project where I asked Hikes Mike. I didn't tell him. I said it's a for a friend. I asked him to vouch an AKA account. And I just wanted the experience, and I went on my little AKA account.
I feel like this is the introduction to a long troll.
No,
Does anyone get that feeling?
I'll say it right now, dude.
Give me your very biased sample of one instance.
No, dude, listen. My argument is actually going to be surprising to AUI, so I will continue. But anyways, I did go on my little AK account. I sat in my purple slot. I wasn't picker. I sat in the pick originally, and I told me, cunt out of blue. And I moved down. I sat down. I was waiting. I suggested some picks. This pick's good. The guy picks himself tiny mid. I'm not saying anything, I'm still like, whatever. I'm forced to play a support less track, some stupid tri lane, and then, the guy's like, it's actually, his name is CGUSHHH, and then like he's like legit flaming me before the lane start, and I actually like, in my little experiment, I figured out like, being on the end of that is actually quite annoying. So ever since that, I've been trying to change my ways, not try to play.
Thank you. No, but like something you guys have to realize is I don't think I've ever said once that you can't learn an IHL. My points have been that the environment is not conducive for learning for a lot of players, and that matchmaking is not that bad for learning if you put yourself to it.
Is it just the flaming that makes it not conducive to learning?
Yes, because I think that if you blame people, they don't learn.
Okay.
You should enter into an IHL game, and you should know that people are going to all chat. That's just how it is, and it's not bad. That's how you get to know people, and that's how you get your friendly little rivalries going, alright? Like you gotta enter
God,
that's not learning,
with a
though.
thick
That's not
skin.
learning.
It's
Spend
not
some
learning.
time on the NEODota forums if you need to thicken up a little bit.
Oh, you saw it.
Alright.
Plug.
No,
You
I
do
do have
know
to, I
that.
do have to
Okay.
agree with AUI. Like,
Look,
if you want to
I'll-
learn and have a mindset and you go matchmaking, you could actually do that. But it's so hard to have that mindset and maintain that mindset.
And you're still not going to be in the same environment. Look, like I want to talk about the flaming for a second. Like, it's not a perfect environment. Like, you're probably going to get flamed, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, every time you get flamed, whether it's like, shut up, idiot, or
Are you gonna tell me there's something behind the flame? Don't
Yes,
say that.
yes.
Or-
There
yes,
is.
no,
It
there
toughens you up.
absolutely fucking
This-
is.
No,
If-
not
look,
all the
this is
time in
part of the game.
Are
IXDL.
you kidding me? Look, I'm gonna use you.
Okay, no, wait, no.
Remember when hold on. Remember when I matchmade?
Because
with
you're
you?
awful.
Like
This is
after
different.
a really fucking long time, and then we lane together, and then you said,
So, wait,
what the fuck are you doing?
Wait, are you
And then
comparing
I
me to
never
the average
did that.
IXDL player?
And then I
Are
never-
you saying I have the exact same attitude as the average IXDL player?
You're worse than Juby.
No. Okay.
Anyways.
Okay, wait. Listen.
But the thing is, like, when you said that, I never did that again. I remember to never do that again. I mean, this is how, like, all the top players have sort of gotten to this point.
No.
Nobody has held their fucking hand and said, hey, you have to do this, and this. If you want that, go pay for a fucking coaching.
The thing is,
But you're not
AUI
gonna have that.
AUI was not brought up in the though.
The
He
thing
was brought
is-
up with people just
The thing is,
sucking him off.
nobody hold your fucking hand. The thing is, if you really want to improve and you're serious
But
about
here-
doing it,
no, like, you're
IXDL
missing-
is
you're
honestly
missing-
the best point.
My argument is
It's
that
honestly the
not
best
everyone
way.
can learn in that environment, and not everyone has to.
Okay,
And people
fine,
are
that's,
tuning-
that's fine. But if
People
you
are saying
want to,
in-house
if you
leagues
really
are the only way to get good. Like seriously,
Okay,
people are
I'm
saying
the
saying
best way.
I'm not saying
Or the
I'm
best
saying that
way.
it's
They
the
are the
best
best
way because
way.
it is the best way. Like honestly, like if you have a problem, if that's not the best way you learn, if that's like,
I'm telling you, some
If-
people
if
can't
that
learn under
makes-
flame.
but if that makes it hard for you or whatever, here's the bottom line: if you can't learn under flame, if the flame makes you angry, if it puts a lot of pressure on you and you just can't fucking take it, I mean, here's the bottom line: stop being such a fucking pussy.
All right.
I think a lot of people can't learn properly under flame because when they get flamed, they don't learn. Like
It's part of the skill set though. Like you got to be able to.
like no, we
perform
can't just
even
say
if you're
that.
getting
We can't just
flamed.
say getting flamed is part of Dota.
Of course you can. It's part of any competition. It doesn't have to be getting flamed. It's about having some outside factors altering your state of mind. You have to stay focused and you have to keep playing well no matter what happens. What if you're on LAN and someone in the audience at TI2 yells out, "Owie, you fucking suck."
Did we
You
move
fucking
from playing
suck, Owie.
in-house league to TI
What happens when a USA
It's gonna
chant goes
happen,
on
dude.
and you're a
Yeah,
European?
when I'm in my booth at TI3, I'm gonna hear that one audience first.
You can hear the USA chants. What
And
happens
I'm
next
gonna
time?
think-
Next time you're
I'm
in the
gonna
finals
think,
with IG,
oh
and
God,
they
I
start
wish I could have
chanting
played
China.
IXDL so I could have done better at International. What would have happened if I had played an in-house league so I could be better at Dota? That's gonna be the first thought through my mind, actually.
You might have been invited.
I wish I could play in-house league so I could be good at Dota. Like, really.
Me
Yo.
too.
Two days ago, versus RTZ versus AUI, King of Vancouver. Who won?
Oh, he crushed me. So, BuLba.
Dude, obviously.
Oh, I don't want to say something really mean right now, but so,
You're
like,
just
BuLba,
gonna
you're
flame him
flaming
for no
after a
reason.
loss. Are you sure you should do this?
What?
Because I know when we
Why?
lost a turn, flame me in Skype privately, so that's even more so. No, are you sure you want to do this?
Dude,
Like,
when
tell
did
me
I
now.
flame you? Like, I did not even flame you right now, dude. I'm just saying that, listen, I'm just citing, like, RTZ is, I'm being honest right now, individually, in a one-on scenario, this guy is the best player in the world.
Okay,
And-
guys,
you
I gotta
know who
go.
agrees
I'm
with me?
leaving.
Turtle Envy agrees with me, okay?
Bye.
That's all I can
How
say.
does Eternal Envy agree with you?
Yeah, he does. Number 1, RTZ. Number 2, Ferrari. Number 3, Zhao.
What does Loda
no.
think about that then?
Did you see his Chronos?
Lag, dude. Lag.
Yeah. Okay.
US East.
About that real quick. I mean, like, so many things go into player performance. Like, I don't know. It's so fucking hard to judge players. Like the Twitch chat goes crazy with that shit. People say disband all the time, but I mean, it's so hard to judge players. Like so many things go into performance.
You can't.
Have you?
Yeah. No, you
have
can't.
you
You can't
slept
judge
well
a player
that day?
until you've played with them, like at least 30 times.
Yeah.
That's how.
I
That's
mean,
how I
like,
always felt.
so many things affect performance. Did you sleep well? Did you eat well? Is your girlfriend gone for the month? Like, I mean, like shit affects. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why the Chinese teams are so good. That they're all in this house. They have a staff around them 24/7. They can control all these factors. They can control when you wake up, what you eat. If you're lonely that day, your team is around you. They can control all these fucking factors and control all the outside things. Like the Western teams, we're just sitting here with our thumbs up our
now we
asses
know how
by
to beat them.
ourselves.
We gotta flame them in all chat. We're ready for that. They
Dude, I'm pretty sure they
can't do
flame
that
more
with
of
us.
them.
It's part of
Dude,
the
they
game.
flame the Chinese people. Dude,
Chinese flame so
play.
hard. Have you seen that
They
video?
really fucking
Dude, have you seen
flame.
2009 casting?
Yeah,
That guy?
seriously,
Oh my
they-
god.
Yo, let's do it
They're the
then.
biggest
Let's
numbers in
get
the world.
Like,
that,
everyone-
that translator tool for Dota 2 and let's just fucking go at it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Everyone
Wait,
thinks
Luminous, remember
they're
how
so
I got you
mannered,
2009's autograph?
Yeah.
Are you happy about that?
Wait, you got it? Wait, no. You say you got it, right?
Yeah, I got you 2009's autograph, remember?
No, you asked me to get it for you. I don't know if I'm getting trouble.
Oh yeah, I asked you to get it for me. Shit. Turned it around on me.
Yeah.
This troll attempt is not even good. Step it up.
All right. Did everyone get their flame out of their system? I think so.
I don't know.
If in-house leagues were the only way to get better in the best way, then I would never be in a competitive scene because I'm not playing those and I didn't learn in them. Just saying.
All right.
There are exceptions to every rule. Just like,
AY, thoughts on your upcoming match and the defense?
We're gonna win. Like the defense, we actually are right now.
What happened to the
Yeah.
VP games?
Did you see us like pair strategies before and then not pick them? That was really funny. I thought that was funny.
Oh.
yep.
I don't know. We just had so.
Well, good luck in that.
Wait,
Are you
can
gonna
I ask
buy
a
an
quick
Atos?
question? I know we're way past that point, but I just want to ask. This is my only chance. AUI. So how bad is Zo's farming on PL? Because it cringed me when he's not double walking to make illusions. Can you just slime him for me? Or no, you can't do that.
Zhao?
Yeah.
Joe.
I didn't watch it.
Didn't watch it.
Like it's a like 85-minute game. I'll like skip through it, but I didn't watch the entire game. Watch the farm and stuff, right?
Okay. BuLba,
But-
blue flame?
But
Yeah, blue flame.
their item
No,
builds
dude.
are
Joe.
terrible.
I'm
in
honest.
China.
Okay, Joe. I don't feel the Chinese POs even for the thing they didn't abuse the farming as well. Like even in G League, I didn't see. I'm being honest. Like in that scenario, like Black would outfarm Burning, like little things like that. But you're gonna say, oh, they didn't abuse like quality and that stuff at the time. The problem is like the way that Zhou plays. I feel like he's actually my favorite Chinese carry right now because he
They
like
go to every fight.
he's always in these team fights. Like he's like his team fight involvement is like he plays for the team. He's like a team fight carry player, and that's like.
So it's just a different play
That's-
style. So you can't really compare to farming.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So okay, he might not farm as well, but his decision making in all those games was amazing. I thought he's always like the kind of people always underrate him. And speaking to Pycat, and he actually tells me like Joe and that team, he leads them, like he makes a lot of the shots. And being a carry player to that, as well as having all the team fight involvement, is like awesome. So I thought he's actually like one of my favorite players right
Sorry to everyone who's watching. My internet crapped out right at the end last week. I stress tested it yesterday and everything went fine, but you know, we're not in a studio. I'm doing this on the best internet in Wisconsin, and it's Wisconsin, so it's not very good internet. But we are gonna just wrap this up here. Monolith, shout outs for Aoi who just left.
Okay, so I'll do me and Kurt at the same time. So shout out to our sponsors, Team Dignitas, and all our sponsors, Alienware, Intel, Antec, QPad, Kingston, Western Digital, EMA, Killer, Sound Blaster, Twitch, Initial Games, and I actually really want to, since Kurt is gone now, and I don't have to do this in front of him, I actually want to give a huge shout out to the players. It's no secret we've been in a little bit of a slump this last couple weeks or whatever, but all performed really well during that time, and they've all worked really, really hard despite, you know, the losses, despite the disappointments, and, you know, like this last, I mean, since I've with them for pot and bottom, I've been really blessed to manage this team, and all of them, Snake King and Universe, have been really great. So shout out to
Who's better?
Guys. You're best. You're the best, Sam. You're the best.
Yeah.
All right. BuLba, anything you want to say here?
Shout out to my team. Answers, we had a real depressing loss today, and it was just overall like horrible. Like after the game, I didn't even want to like come on a talk show. Like, no, whatever. It's like no point feeling bad after the game. So I came on, and I think that was this is our first tournament, like big tournament we're officially out of. I think we got 4th. So it was actually quite depressing, and everything aside, the Fnatic played really well today, and they outthought us, and they played better than us in most of the game, and we didn't play well at all, and so I hope to improve on that. But yeah, so shout out to my team and the sponsors, Razer, the Little App Factory, and Barracuda, and Twitch.
All right. Luminous, any shoutouts?
Yeah, shout out to Fluff, Envy, Ilson. Just, it's so nice to be able to talk to players that are better than me, so and learning from them. That's really cool for me. Shout out to BTS for, you know, paying me the big bucks now. Haven't paid me anything yet, but eventually they will, hopefully. And also shout out to Rochester, New York, because I am going to be going there for a collegiate event. It's going to be April 13th, something like that. We're going to be going there with a D2L caster and casting some games. More info on that later. Thanks for having me here.
Of course, thanks for joining us, and congratulations. BTS is doing big things, and I'm sure you'll be a great addition over on their team. We don't have everyone's Twitters on the overlay, so I'll quickly rattle them off. I am at Spit-wad. You can follow Monolith at MonolithDota, I believe.
Yep.
At Liquid BuLba, at Luminous Inverse, and at AUI_2000. And you can follow us and the show at NEODota 2. We will read anything you tweet us. Everyone on the show will read the comments. So let us know what you thought about this week's episode. We'll try to do something about the internet. Someone else will maybe stream next week. Let us know what you thought about using Google Hangout. We'll try to make the overlay a little prettier next week if we continue using this. I just didn't want anyone to put in too much time and effort if we were going to switch back to Skype. So yeah, tweet us what you thought, and we'll be back here next week, Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern, as always. Thanks, guys.
Is it over?